We're about to look at the other strength of DAX. We mentioned in the very first video that the real strength of DAX was to create calculated columns and to create measures. We've gone through calculated columns in quite a bit of detail, so now it's time to look at measures. Now, calculated columns, as we've mentioned, are row iterators. They create a result, a calculated result per row. Measures do not. So we don't really want to be in data view when we're creating measures. I think when you're creating measures, the best place for you to hang out is in the report canvas. So I'm going to click on the report view button to get back to my report view. Then what I want to do is I want to collapse customers, collapse date, actually collapse everything, just so it's easy for me to see all my fields. Now the measure I want to create is to go into the internet sales table. So I'm going to right click internet sales. From here, I'm able to choose that I want to create a new measure. So I click New Measure. And now I'm able to type my formula back in the formula bar. My formula is, I want to call this measure total sales. And I'll press equals. Now I want to sum, tab, and apostrophe. I want to sum the sales amount. And so I start to type it, and here it is here. I'm wanting to sum up the sales amount column that can be found in the internet sales table. So I press tab and I close the bracket. You may find that if you don't close the bracket, you will get away with it. It'll close it for you, but it's good practice to actually close the bracket. Now, let me just stretch the fields pane a little bit and scroll down a little bit. I'm going to collapse my columns. Here is a measure. A measure is quite different. It's got a little calculator symbol. And so that's what a measure looks like. Now, if I want to format the measure, I'm actually just going to go to the format option up here and choose currency. Or I could hit this button here and choose currency also. And in fact, this little button allows me to choose a variety of currency styles. So that gives you more leverage. So we've created a measure and we've formatted the measure, and it's called total sales. Now I want to create another new measure. So I'm going to go right click on the internet sales table and choose new measure. I'm going to click on my formula bar and type total cost. And this is the sum of the total product cost, which if I start to type it, there it is there. Close the bracket, press enter, and I've created a second measure in my internet sales table. I want to format that also as currency, and so I formatted that as well. Now I'd like to create another measure, and this is called total transactions. Right click internet sales, new measure, and total transactions equals. And I want to count the rows in the table called internet sales. That doesn't need to be formatted to currency, so I just leave it as total transactions. Okay. I now want to create another, so I right click internet sales, new measure, and I'm going to create a measure that's based on two measures I previously made. So you can make measures based on measures. This is profit, and it's equal to the measure I created. So here I just press square bracket. Square bracket will bring up any measures I've created, and you see the little calculator symbol again. So this is the total sales minus square bracket, the total cost. And that's my profit. So I press enter, and that I'd also like to format to currency. So I choose the format currency. And so here you can see I've created 4 measures inside of my internet sales. Now what I'd like to do is move a measure. If you ever want to move a measure out of this particular table into another table, that's what the home table drop down is all about. It tells me at the moment that profit, total costs, total sales, and total transactions are all stored in the internet sales table. And that's because that's the table I created them in. But if you needed to move them for whatever reason, you can easily hit this drop down and choose a different table that you want to store them in. So let's say I want to put total transactions into dim customer. And so total transactions has disappeared from my internet sales and is now sitting in my customer table. But I'm going to move it back and put it back into my internet sales. And it's as easy as doing that to move your measures between various tables. And that's where they really should stay.